Satisfactory is a space-age, capitalistic imperialism simulator about you, a lowly and expendable blue-collar worker bringing unbridled industry and all it entails to an untouched, virgin planet, harvesting its natural resources by any means necessary, and then using those same resources to build up machines to more efficiently take said resources, and finally transform them into products to be sent to some far-off entity who is perhaps totally unaware of the trail of destruction left behind to create those goods. It'd be awful if that happened in real life. Satisfactory is not the kind of game that I typically play. I like the idea of open-ended analytical problem-solving games like this, but, well, I had to stop playing City Skylines because it makes me too anxious. So that's where I'm at with this genre. But something about Satisfactory just makes sense to me, enough that it keeps bringing me back. This is my 4th or 5th expedition into being a Fix-It employee, and it looks inevitable that this game will end up in my top 5 most played games on Steam very soon. Turns out this game is pretty good.
Nice.
The gameplay loop of Satisfactory is very straightforward. You extract resources to process, and then turn into products of increasing complexity, all while managing power consumption, logistics, and all of this is automated as much as possible by building and programming machines, conveyor belts, vehicles, and more. You know, it's just like managing a real factory, no big deal, right? The increasing complexity bit of it all is what really drives this game, and also gives it its difficulty. To start off, you go mine iron, then you smelt it into ingots, and finally you turn that into something, maybe rods or plates. Then we add on complexity. The next layer has you combine 2 products, like taking those plates and combining them with screws to turn them into reinforced plates. Reinforced plates can then be combined with other products, and along the way you start to unlock other raw resources like copper, quartz, coal, and oh look, now you can combine that coal with raw iron to instead make steel and a bunch of new recipes, but now you have to manage resources as well as finished products. And then you unlock extracting oil, which can be turned into fuel for power or plastic and rubber products, but oops, all of that creates byproducts that you also have to manage or the machines can back up and break down. And on top of that, resources start to be found farther and farther away, so you have to figure out supply line logistics to get those products where they belong, and before you know it, you're combining 4 different products from 3 different resources to make a computer. And that's just mid-game. Satisfactory does this ad nauseum with every single unlock you get, building complexity with entirely new mechanics or adding additional ways to interact with existing ones. And all the while, the game seems to relish in watching you fail when your thought process or execution doesn't come out quite right, because every mistake you make runs the risk of shutting down at least some part of your factory, if not all of it. Satisfactory has no real extrinsic pressure, there's no time limit, no existential threat to you playing. The only remote pressure is just a bin asking you to put X amount of resources in it to unlock new mechanics, upgrades, and a new bin to put resources in, and that's it. So I don't like it, but the game doesn't really need that external pressure because every factory feels like both a tightly crafted ecosystem and an extremely fragile house of glass. For example, I recently decided to gather and develop a new material, quartz. It's kind of late in the game to be collecting it now, but it's just so far away from anything else I built, and so I just didn't get to it sooner. Anyways, I needed to get a supply line out there, and I decided I'm gonna lengthen my small and underdeveloped train system. So I run the rail line extension out there, build up the factory to harvest and process the quartz into finished products, turn it all on, verify the factory is working, and finally connect everything. Quartz and its products start feeding into my train system and presumably rushing off for a vacation at my big storage facility. It's a job well done, so I catch the next train back to my main base to work on the next stage of quartz production. Yeah, everything up until now is just the first part of this endeavor. The whole job is to more efficiently build a factory somewhere else entirely. Now that's Satisfactory for you. Anyways, the stop on the way is my big main steel plant, and when passing by, I notice something's wrong. There's quartz here in what should be the coal intake system. Coal being a different resource I also freight in via train. So I go to investigate, and the entire intake of the whole factory is flooded with quartz that has totally shut down production because, well, I thought the train system would work a little bit differently, and I didn't test it first. Oops. No! It's a new major problem, so I drop everything else and I start treating this self-inflicted wound. It takes a lot of time to remove all the quartz, but I do figure it out eventually, and I even set up an entirely new system to capture unexpected resources in the intake lines, so this can't happen again. Is it overkill? Well, yeah, it is, especially when I turn around after all this to stop the quartz from entering the system at the source, and I learn that the train system actually has a built-in feature for this exact scenario. It does exactly the thing I just built. More importantly, this whole ordeal cemented to me that my current train network sucks. The single-line point-to-point system does not scale for multiple trains, and it adds unnecessary complexity to the actual moving around of resources, which I'm already clearly struggling with. And that's kind of Satisfactory in a nutshell. When I play this game, I am constantly managing 3 to 5 different major tasks. In addition to now overhauling my rail system, I also need to increase power generation to support that and future growth. And I desperately need to get an aluminum plant online to build with the next tier of products because I keep using the game's currency to buy aluminum resources instead of just producing it myself. And maybe more importantly, I really need to overhaul my entire logistics intake system again, because the last time I looked at it, it was great for automation, but terrible for speed. And now, there's major bottlenecks, which will only get worse as I introduce new products. The threat does not come from outside, it comes from within. My mind. The driving force of this game is entirely me trying to untangle my own spaghetti just enough to serve myself a delicious new plate of, yeah, you guessed it, more spaghetti. And maybe it sounds like Satisfactory is driving me mad, and yeah, I think it is a little bit, but I don't know, it just clicks for me. I just really like spaghetti, I guess. And despite what this video may be suggesting, I'm really just beginning to scratch the surface of what this game has to offer. There's so many other bespoke mechanics I have hardly even mentioned. Generating and managing electricity, the fluid dynamic system, vehicle autopilot. I can't fully articulate how deep this game goes in a reasonable amount of time, so I won't. This is a genre you can either clearly see the appeal of, or you just don't. If you are interested in this game and you're on the fence, let me be the one to push you over. If you like solving analytical problems and you're looking for a time sink of a video game, because that's what this is a great game in a genre right up your alley. At over 100 hours into my current save, I still haven't finished unlocking everything yet, and it's not even because I'm too dense, it's just that there is so much to do here. The value proposition is just so good. As of recording this, Satisfactory is still in early access, but as of September this year, 2024, the year of our Lord, it will be coming out for real. And when it does, I will inevitably start over once again and sink another 100 hours into this game, just so I can do it all a little more efficiently. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, think about giving it a like, a comment, or even subscribe if you really like my work. If you like the cinematography throughout this video, the drone footage and tracking shots, that is all thanks to the mod Fix-It-Cam by developer Panacotta. Fix-It-Cam lets you do this insanely detailed camera work, and it's all in-game. If you've ever used Blender or some other 3D animation software, it's just like that. This is so easy to pick up, and if you're at all interested, I'm going to leave a link to it down in the description below. The music in this video is all from Satisfactory. If you like it, you can buy the soundtrack on Steam. And that's it. See ya.